share a particular faith tradition at all, but I'm a Matthew 25 Christian, meaning I like to center my work on the least among us, the poor, the most marginalized. Isaiah, whom I've been reading a lot lately, says, who are you to crush my people, to grind the face of the poor? So I want to dig into that verse from Matthew 25 to assess the Trump economy. It says, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. Dr. Morgan, how have the president's policies been for hungry Americans?
Senator Warnock, the president's policies have pushed more and more Americans into hunger. We've seen actually 4 million people lose their SNAP benefits under this administration. It's about 700,000 of them were children. And the Century Foundation's own polling shows that 1 in 3 Americans have skipped meals in order to deal with their cost of living crisis.
So you said 4 million Americans. Mm-hmm. And you said 700,000 of the Americans kicked off of SNAP are children?
That's right.
Because I met with the speaker and others, and they're saying that these are able-bodied men who are kicked off of SNAP. But you're saying these cuts are leaving children food insecure.
That's
Let's try another one. The text goes on to say, "For I needed clothes, and you clothed me." Dr. Morgan, how have the president's policies been for poor, unemployed, or unhoused Americans?
The tax cuts alone had a massive effect on low-income families. Low-income families actually lost money under H.R. 1 to the tune of about $1,200.
That's the one big, beautiful bill.
That's right. But the Trump administration has also taken other actions that directly target poor and unhoused families. The Trump administration has attempted to impose time limits and work requirements on rental assistance. They've proposed cuts and changes to programs that support the homeless. And then rising utility costs are also hurting the poorest families as well.
Matthew 25 says, "For I was sick and you looked after me." What about the president's health care policies, especially when it comes to health care affordability?
This is really an acute problem for families right now. We've seen cuts to Medicaid that have taken insurance away from families. We've seen the failure to extend the ACA premium tax credits that has jacked up the cost of health insurance premiums for many American families. We're also seeing increasing costs on employer-sponsored plans. So people are really faced with a choice right now of being uninsured or choosing, kind of like a skimpier health insurance plan in order to get coverage. And at the same time,
the Trump administration and Washington Republicans cut $1 trillion out of Medicaid. They call it waste, fraud, and abuse. Is it fair to say they cut more than waste, fraud, and abuse?
That is correct. They cut care for American families.
What if the biggest argument about the economy isn't what Wall Street is saying, but what families around the kitchen table are experiencing every single day? That's exactly where this Senate hearing took an unexpected turn. Instead of debating stock market numbers or GDP growth, Senator Raphael Warnock asked a much more personal question. Who is actually benefiting from today's economy? And as the hearing unfolded, it became clear that this wasn't just another political exchange. It was a debate about hunger, healthcare, housing, and whether America's economic success is reaching the people who need it most. Senator Raphael Warnock opened by citing a Fox News poll showing that many Americans believe today's economy is benefiting wealthy people far more than working families. Whether you agree with the poll or not, Warnock's message was clear. People don't judge the economy by headlines, they judge it by what they can afford at the grocery store, the gas pump, and the end of each month. He then questioned economist Dr. Morgan, but instead of focusing on technical economic data, he centered the conversation on ordinary Americans. Warnock asked how current policies are affecting families struggling to put food on the table. Morgan argued that millions have lost access to SNAP benefits, including hundreds of thousands of children, and said many families are now skipping meals just to keep up with the rising cost of living. The discussion quickly expanded beyond food. Warnock asked about housing, healthcare, and support for low-income families. Morgan said higher healthcare costs, Medicaid cuts, and changes to housing assistance programs have placed additional pressure on people already facing financial hardship.
For I was a stranger, the text says, and you invited me in. How has the Trump economy been for law-abiding immigrants and dreamers living in the shadows?
We've seen a kind of xenophobic attack on our immigrant neighbors. We're seeing families who are afraid because of the actions of ICE to go to work and to send their families to school. It's incredibly crushing both for those families and for their communities and those of us who live among people. And then we've also seen these attacks to try to take away benefits and programs from law-abiding immigrants. So it's hugely concerning.
Yeah. So who's served by this economy? That's a long range of people who seem to be suffering. Who's served by the economy, the Trump economy?
I mean, it serves the rich, right? It serves Donald Trump himself. It serves his billionaire colleagues, and it serves, the banks who are represented here at this hearing who have gotten the Trump administration to roll back protections for working families in order to maintain their profits.
All right, I'm a few seconds over, and so I'm going to bring this to closure, Brother Chair. But Donald Trump has been president for 18 months. And while he and his advisors love to blame Joe Biden for rising costs, Americans elected him to lower costs. He's been at it for 18 months. He's raised costs for everybody, shredded the safety net meant to catch people during tough times. This Trump economy isn't just bad. For me, it's a moral abomination. This is bigger than politics. It's about humanity. Thank you so much for your.
One of the strongest moments came near the end of the exchange. Warnock asked a simple but powerful question. Who is this economy really serving? Morgan responded that,